I don't think I have many accolades in my name except this one, but the fact that this victory, my victory, was able to strike a chord with thousands of people who had probably started giving up on their dreams and now are on their way to realize them, to them I want to say, thank you. Hi, my name is Sargam Koushal. I'm 32 years old. I've been married for 5 years now, but I have no kids. I'm a pet parent. I do not like cooking. I hate cooking, but I make the best rajma chawal in the world. I keep Karwa Chauth every single year, but I don't wait endlessly for my husband at the dinner table whenever he's late from work. I'm this woman from a small town in Jammu and Kashmir who left her respectable job as a teacher and thought of pursuing a full-time career in modeling and pageantry. I'm someone who people satirically call the modern Bahu. And this uncanny, atypical, eccentric woman is your Mrs. World 2022. I wouldn't say that I have struggled a lot in my life because honestly, I always had a comfortable life and all the independence that I wanted. I have understanding parents, a progressive husband, friends who always have my back, and relatives who never poke their nose in my business. When everybody's parents were after their children's lives to become doctors and engineers, my parents gave me the option to choose if I wanted to pursue modeling or even pageantry for that matter. Well, who would say no to that offer, right? Well, I did, because this woman that you see here standing with this sash and crown, it wasn't me a few years ago. I was always this girl who felt she was too slim or too dark or too ugly. I was always made fun of because of my haircut back then in school. My gummy smile was something that was made fun of. My wafer-thin arms, my chicken legs, all of those things. And even though all of this was going on in my life, there was one thing that always kept me going, which was my family's go-to mantra. And I say that again and again, which is, दुनिया क्या सोचेगी, ये भी हम ही सोचेंगे, तो दुनिया क्या सोचेगी? It took me a while to incorporate these lines in my life, but I finally did. And that's probably one of the reasons why I'm infamously known as the modern Bahu. So I'm not here to talk about my struggles or my journey, but I'd like to give you some unsolicited advice, if you may. I'd like to reply to some comments that I've heard over the years. And I would like to answer a very frequently asked question about pageantry. So when I turned 26, my parents thought it was time for me to get married. I was then dating my husband, Aditya, and we'd been dating for 3 years, but I never really thought that it was time for me to get married because I had still not found my passion in life. I was working as a teacher and not really enjoying it very much. I wasn't earning well. I had literally peanuts in my bank account. So, but you know what? That's the thing about my husband. He sees potential in me even when I can't see. That's something that I relate with my father as well. Both these men in my life have seen potential in me even when I couldn't. But that didn't mean that I was ready for marriage. That does not take away from the fact that I wasn't ready for it. I just got lucky in love. I just got lucky. What if this man had turned out to be my worst nightmare? What if one fine day, after a big fight, he would have asked me to pack my bags and leave. And what if I didn't have my parents' support if something like that happened? So my unsolicited advice to you, especially to the young girls out there, love marriage or arrange, I feel just don't get married until you actually can sustain yourself independently. Do not be a liability on your partner, be an asset. Grow with them, build with them. And you know what? God forbid if things go south, at least you have something with you to start your life afresh without flinching. That's my takeaway. And so, as soon as I got married, I found myself a job, again as a teacher, but this time I was enjoying it a lot. My students loved me, my organization loved me, and I was having a pretty good time. But still, well, I hadn't found my passion yet. But I still feel that, you know, it's okay. Not everyone finds their passion when they're 16. Some find it when they're 30 or 40 or maybe never in life sometimes. But it's okay to have a plan B. For me, that plan B was always teaching. And it's okay to fall back on that plan B while you're searching for your opportunities, your calling. So always hold on to that plan B. That's another advice I would like to give you. Well, in my life, I've always met these two kinds of people, and you all will definitely meet these two kinds of people in life. Ones are the kind who will always be happy for you. They'll cheer for you, they'll encourage you, and even if they don't have anything good to say, they will not say anything bad. They will not try to bring you down. But these other ones, they always have something to say. Always have something to say. In 2015, well, I started with a small modeling gig back home in Jammu, and you know, when the pictures came out, there were hoardings of me all over Jammu, and this elderly couple in my family calls up my parents and says a lot of things. They then call me up, and out of everything else that they said, there's one thing that they said, and I remember it very well. They called me Besharam. I would really like you to see that picture because, well, you must be thinking I was wearing something provocative, right? But yeah, I was a bride, so that was that. I stayed quiet, I didn't say anything back then. Later, when I decided to get married, I heard people say, and they said it pretty loud, that the only reason why a Dalit girl who's just a school teacher will marry a Brahmin Navy officer is because she wants his status, money, and the lifestyle. I stayed quiet again. On another occasion, I think that was in 2020, when I left my teaching job, when I finally found my passion, my calling into modeling and pageantry and all things in front of camera, I realized that, you know, I'll have to make my social media profile public. I'll have to, you know, do portfolios and photo shoots and post pictures on Instagram. And I was doing that quite well. And there were so many women who actually came up to me saying, you know, you've given us this hope that life doesn't have to be boring after marriage, that chasing your dream and following your passions is not something that just Bollywood made up. You've given us hope. That's what they used to say. But then there was this one person, and I remember this text so vividly because this person was very close to me. They had broken bread with me, for all I can say. And they said, and I quote, "You're a 30-something old woman married woman, who wears provocative clothes on social media to entice men. I stayed quiet again. I always wanted to give a lot of replies, but I thought that, as Frank Sinatra once said, the best revenge is a massive victory. So, well, now I have a lot to say, but first I'll show you this. So this is my comeback, of course. So this is what I want to say to the elderly couple who called me besharam. I hope your daughters and your granddaughters have the courage to be equally besharam, equally shameless, and unapologetically themselves. To those people who thought that I married only because I wanted my husband's status, to them I want to say, today, whatever I've done, whatever I've achieved, whatever status I'm at, is because of the hard work that I've put in, and it's not given to me by my husband or my father. And today my husband loves to be addressed as Mrs. World's husband. And to that woman who said that I wear provocative clothes for men, let me tell you one thing. When I was younger, I used to wear jackets over jackets and trousers over trousers just so that people would think I'm not skinny. I worked on myself and I worked hard. I've worked on my physical and mental health, and that's the reason I'm standing here today. And if you think that women dress up to attract men, honestly, you're mistaken, because women who know their worth, they don't need to attract men. They own what they wear, and they love what they wear, whatever they wear. We don't dress up to impress men. Honestly, we dress up to impress other women. Because I would really love if someone came up to me today and said, a woman came up to me and said, you're wearing a lovely pantsuit, and I would love to boast that it's from a designer friend. So yeah. Well, that brings me to the last part, which is a lot of questions have been asked to me when I was doing pageantry. And one of the most frequently asked questions is, how do pageants empower women? How do beauty pageants empower women? I'm sure a lot of you will have the same question, and it's a smart question, but let me ask you a few questions myself. What is wrong with a woman trying to break the stereotypical compartmentalization of beauty and brain? Why can't a woman have both? What is wrong with a woman trying to reinvent her feminine avatar away from the typical sacrificing figure of a mother and a wife? Why can't she do something by herself? Not as a wife, not as a mother, but as herself. Why is it, what is wrong with a woman trying to embrace herself, embrace her identity, and use that power, that position, that platform, and that popularity to empower others around her, especially ones who cannot empower themselves, especially ones who just watch these women on their phones or televisions? What is wrong with that? Taking part in a pageant is not for the faint-hearted. Trust me, this was my first and last pageant. It is not for the faint-hearted. It requires a lot of courage. It requires you to come out of your comfort zone. It requires you to really work hard on your body, on your mind. It requires an impeccable communication and leadership skills. It requires you to voice out your opinions. It requires you to empower the youth. It requires you to talk about topics that no one else would want to talk about. A year ago, no one would have thought, even I wouldn't have thought that I'd be standing here. A year ago, no one would have cared if this random woman had something to talk about physical or mental health. No one would have given two hoots about it. But today, the most crucial thing I can contribute to this society is my voice. And I found that voice through pageantry. Today, my father is so proud of me. I've made my father proud. I see him smile because I fulfilled his lifelong dream of being an inspiration to the society thanks to pageantry. Today, I have broken every stereotype in my society, shut down every mouth, put down every single finger that was pointing at me, shaming and bullying me, thanks to pageantry. Today, this eccentric woman is a voice for the voiceless, thanks to pageantry. In the end, I would just like to say, women who love themselves, work and achieve their goals, love themselves before anyone else, and women who, just look into the mirror and say, you're the best damn thing in the world. Such women are not a liability. They are an asset to themselves, to the society, to the nation, and to the world at large. And if it makes us rebels or disruptors, well then, it's the dawn of disruption. Thank you very much.